Sorry. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. My name is Sterling Higa, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd now like to call to order the June 3rd, 2026 Kalaeloa Authority meeting of the Hawaii Community Development Authority. The time is now 11:13 a.m.
Thank you, Chair. In accordance with Section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, the Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's Kalaeloa board meeting virtually on Zoom. The Zoom link details were included on the meeting agenda. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom and also at our physical meeting site at the American Brewery Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor boardroom, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. The HCDA communications staff is hosting this meeting. Once this meeting begins, everyone will be muted for clear audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourselves to speak. It is important that all individuals clearly state their name, pseudonym, or other identifier name each time prior to speaking. If you wish to provide oral testimony or attending virtually, please indicate so by clicking the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen. If you're attending in person, you'll be called to the front of the room in the order that you signed up. Before you begin your testimony, we ask that you identify yourself, spell your name for the record. Your testimony must be related to an item on the agenda. All testimony will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. When time is elapsed, time will be called out, after which you will have 30 seconds to conclude your testimony, and then your audio will be turned off. If you are attending in person, the presiding officer will call the next testifier. Keep in mind that this is an opportunity to share your thoughts with us. If you ask questions during your testimony, or the board or the staff is required to provide an answer. If the authority's connection for the remote meeting is lost, the meeting will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the meeting will be terminated and the authority will continue the meeting on another notice date. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. HCDA board members, please remain visible and audible during the meeting. Also, please acknowledge you are present by either saying here or present. Let the record reflect that the following members are present. Vice Chair Ishii.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Lidstone.
Ew.
Thank you. Member Miranda Johnson.
Here.
Thank you. Member Anderson.
Here.
Thank you. Member Evans.
Here.
Thank you. Member Strites.
Here.
Thank you. Member Duvashel.
Here.
Thank you. And Member Gordner.
Here.
Great.
Here, quorum, Chair.
Thank you. For today's meeting, board members will have the opportunity to ask questions or provide comments after an agenda item has been presented. Individuals from the public who have requested to provide verbal public testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted to provide their testimony respectively. The first agenda item is the approval of minutes. These are the regular meeting minutes of May 6, 2026. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? Member Gordner.
Chair, I have three small corrections.
Please.
At the bottom of page 2, public testimony section, bullet 2, line 4. That line begins with the word contest, which should be contested.
Noted.
Thank you.
At the top of page 3, in the first bullet, second line, that as, to be clear, should be and stated that.
Yes.
And on that same page, in the third bullet, there's an inconsistency about the name of the gentleman, Self or Shelf. So if we could just get that corrected.
Thank you.
Yep.
No further, Chair.
Members, any other comments or corrections? Member Strites?
I also noticed a small grammatical error on page 4 under public testimony. The first bullet, end of the first sentence, it says int instead of in, I think. Ms. Rojas stated that land use is not allowed in Kalaeloa, I believe.
Yeah, should be in.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Thank you for those corrections, Member Gordner and Member Strites. Members, any other corrections? Okay, seeing none, we will adopt the minutes as corrected.
We're not public testimony to not give input about the
Nope.
minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move now to the decision making. This is to consider approving pursuant to the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision in order dated January 7th, 2026 for application number KAL 25-010, the reserved housing unit pricing and supporting analyses for increment 4 of Ka'ulu by Gentry located on parcel TMKs 9-1-193, various, and 9-1-198 in the Kalaeloa Community Development District, 91-1101 Franklin D. Roosevelt Avenue. Mr. Ryan Tam, Director of Planning and Development, will now present the staff report. Mr. Ryan Tam.
Good morning, Chair Higa, Member Gardner, and board members. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge again the support of the admin team, including Keelan, Armena, and Tanya Lynn. I also wanted to recognize our staff planner, Laura Moe, who's been working on this. She's made a lot of contributions to our team during her time here, and we're certainly going to miss her. The 4-action request and staff report was provided in your packets and was also uploaded for public review. The applicant Gentry is also here with a brief presentation. Just to recap, a condition of the authority's original approval of the reserve housing unit sales program in 2022 required that the applicant submit the proposed reserve housing unit pricing for the authority's review and approval at least 90 days prior to the announcement of sales for each increment. The authority approved an amended development permit application in January of this year and associated reserve housing program in February. The applicant originally submitted the request for the Unit 4 pricing in March and made a presentation at the April 1, 2026 Kalaeloa meeting. This 4-action request is based on their March submittal. As indicated during their April presentation, the applicant is requesting maximum price ranging from $610,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath reserve housing unit to $685,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit, as shown in Exhibit A of the staff report. At the maximum level, these prices are the same as in previous increments for Ka'ulu. This pricing represents about 124.3% of the average area median income. Again, the applicant is here with a few comments. Otherwise, subject to your questions, this concludes the staff report.
Great, thank you, Mr. Ryan. Tam, representative from Gentry, do you want to make your presentation? Please identify yourself for the record.
Yes, Andrew Kamikawa, Vice President of Gentry Kapolei LLC.
Good morning.
Good morning, Craig. Good morning, Chair Higa, authority members, and HCDA staff. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here this morning. I want to just briefly highlight some updates about Ka'ulu by Gentry. As of May 31st, as of last week, we have closed on 173 homes, consisting of 100 multifamily homes and 73 single-family homes. 23 of the 100 multifamily homes mentioned are reserved housing units. And to emphasize that Ka'ulu by Gentry truly is a workforce housing community, I'd like to note that of the 100 multifamily homes sold to date, 90% of the homes were priced at or below 140% AMI, so that's reserved and market. The residential real estate market continues to face headwinds as a result of subdued consumer confidence, high construction costs, and or mortgage rates remaining elevated longer than anticipated. However, we have continued to push forward with the project and anticipate completion in 2028. We are eager to ramp up sales and marketing efforts for our reserve housing units should we receive approval today. All 9 of these homes listed in the staff report reside in buildings that are constructed and already have certificate of occupancy. These are beautiful homes that are built with the most care and quality. They all include features not always offered in workforce housing, such as an enclosed garage and central air conditioning. Again, mahalo for your time, and I'm here for any questions you may have.
Great, thank you. Board members, any questions or comments for staff or for Gentry? Member Gordner. And then we'll go to Member Duvashell afterward.
Thank you. So I'm looking at Exhibit B, and I see that the example monthly reserves listed for 2-bed and 3-bed can be up to $767 and around $900 respectively. And then I see on page 3 that the estimated maintenance fees for these are $356 to $442. So am I right in interpreting this that Gentry is saving potential homeowners considerable money on maintenance fees below what they could necessarily charge under our rules?
Can I answer? Sure.
Oh, please.
Yeah, so the monthly reserves on the calculation include HOA, but also includes like real property taxes and kind of like a presumed mortgage insurance premium amount. So that's why it's higher than the HOA itself.
And then I see that this increment 4, as you mentioned, we're in a higher for longer interest rate environment. Construction costs have risen considerably since the first increment was approved back in 2023. So could you just describe a little bit how you're able to maintain this this same price despite the inflation we've had since then?
Yeah, so we had the reserve housing unit sales have been slower than anticipated, and what we need to kind of keep the project on schedule and bring the units to market. So part of what we're kind of eager to kind of find out is, with the amended permit application that was approved earlier this year, the regulated term is being amended to that 2-year period. So we're hoping that helps. And as what we see sometimes is as the community kind of matures, it kind of feels more like a community. We have the playground up. There's a lot more activity in the area. So we're hoping that'll kind of provide more momentum for the project. And the reason why we said maximum is so that we can kind of be a little flexible if we need to reduce the price.
Yes, and have the reserved units so far sold close to this maximum price?
Oh, yes, those 23 to date have been, right
At about
at
that
that
price.
price.
Okay.
Member Duvichel.
Hi, thank you. I just have a quick question for the 9 units for increment 4. Those are all supposed to be reserved housing units that you're pushing out, not market?
Yeah, so these are all 9 presented at Exhibit A are the reserve units for this particular increment.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Members, any other comments or questions?
And one more for staff. So at the bottom of the discussion section, it says that this proposed pricing nets 50,000 on shared equity per unit. HCDA, previous paragraph explains that the units in the previous increments have appraised much higher over time. So does our shared equity grow with the appreciation of the units, or is it capped at whatever it is when the unit is sold to begin with?
So the appraisal done at when we get shortly before we get the approval, and then if there's a chance it can exceed that amount based on a calculation, but typically I think Lindsay would probably speak to it better, but typically I think it's hard to kind of exceed the amount that's listed. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll introduce Ms. Lindsay Doyle to add further clarification.
Sorry, were you asking about future, like at a certain
Past. So I understand that this says that, basically each of the units that sell in increment 4, we're expecting about $50,000 in shared equity to HCDA. My understanding of this appreciation over time from the past increment, our shared equity at time of sale would have been of lower value back then because the spread is large, right? So all I'm wondering is our shared equity appreciating with the units over time, or is it a set amount with each increment?
So it's not exactly like that. So where it could appreciate over time, but that would need the unit to almost more than double in price. So it doesn't happen right now. It probably won't happen 5 years, 10 years from now. At some point far in the future, it will happen when these homes are appraised at, $2 million. Then yes, we're going to make more because that secondary shared equity formula will kick in. But until that point, it is a fixed number. So if he's saying that number is, 50,000, that's what that number is going to be. Previous increments 25,000, if that was the number, that's what it would be.
That's right.
So yes, eventually it will, but probably not for a while.
Yes.
Unless we have hyperinflation.
Exactly.
All I mean to underscore, Chair, is that with that understanding of the shared equity program and the point that I made earlier about inflation, the taxpayer is actually getting more for their money and their approval now than they have in the past.
Yes.
And the home buyers are getting more home for their money, even in this same project, than they did in years past, because we're holding this price the same when the price of everything else is moving up. So in that sense, I feel very good about approving this today.
Thank you, Member Gordner. We'll go to Member Lidstone and then, or Secretary Lidstone, then Member Dubuchel.
Mahalo, just fast question. The affordability restriction is 2 years. Is that a common time frame? Or
Do we want to let staff, what is the affordability?
The regulated.
The regulated.
Well, so, based on the, amended permit, it's 2 years. I think previously it was,
So it ranges from 2 to 10. We have various developments, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So it's not any more common than, a 5-year or a 10-year. It's just tied to, in the terms of other units, the affordability. So the 2-year terms were generally a little bit more expensive than, say, the 10-year terms.
Oh, got it. Okay. Mahalo.
Thank you. Member Dubuchel.
Thank you. What is the timeline, sorry, for the for increment 4?
Anchor.
So these 9 units in particular, they reside in buildings that are 100% complete. We have a certificate of occupancy. With any CPR project, there are certain public notices we need to publish before we can go to sale and that sort of thing. But we wanna go to sale, this summer, as soon as we can. And since the homes are completed, depending when we get the sales, there's a typical escrow period and that sort of thing. But we wanna get people living in these homes as soon as possible.
That's great. I'm excited for you folks, and I do appreciate this report, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Dubuchel. Members, any other comments or questions?
I do have one for the
Please.
benefit of the board, which is recollecting the discussion that we had around approving this to begin with and approving the use of the credits. One of the points I want to underscore in the Vice President's testimony is that almost all of the units are selling at about this price in the project. And so just because those 2 years lapse does not mean the prices of these units will necessarily spike through the roof. And that was a major factor in our decision to reduce the period for this development specifically.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Good context, Member Gordner. Members, any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we will move now to public testimony. Thank you. We will welcome anyone pre-signed up to provide testimony on this matter.
One signed up.
We have one signed up online or person? No, none signed up. Okay. Any persons present wishing to provide testimony?
Aloha Tara Rojas.
Thank you.
1. I have to correct this in pronunciation, even though it's the continuous desecration and overbuilding and of a sacred area, it's Kalaeloa. 2, I'm opposed in opposition to the fact that it was piggybacked onto my, contested case and then also got denied. 3, I was looking at, for example, what was just approved the previous meeting, and it comes out to a $2,000 raise that just happened just like that. A $2,000 raise. That takes care of like cost of living. It's just crazy. And then 3, I heard what you just said about it is, already bought, paid for, and then, excited for people to move in, and yes, for people to have housing. Not just a select few though, and in addition to that, crazy looking at the prices, as I mentioned like 2 years ago. 700,000 at 124, whatever percent AMI, when really affordability is 60 to 80% for the majority of the people. The fact that it's already accounted for. Yet as when we saw in the paperwork for the interveners, when we called for the contested case, it was stated in there that it was premature and thus we're gonna disregard this. The fact that this is built, the fact that you guys have this in the plan that is high priority shows that it's not premature. We stated also the HRSs and HARs in which this should be paused and stopped and taken a look at. But yet we're not given the opportunity. So I just want to bring to light the fact that no matter what the people say, no matter how many people say it, no matter the validity and the true jurisdiction that the people have of this land that you continuously building on at an unaffordable price. Next week, there's gonna be Forever Beach, a town hall, and on the topic of the town hall is homelessness, houselessness, the homeless. So we're here talking about it as if it's, oh, it's a normal thing. It is not a normal thing, these exorbitant prices. And knowing that it's just gonna raise, gonna get higher, and then only 2-year restriction period. So I need to bring this to light because no matter if you call a contested case, you come up, you go for 2 years, whatever you guys want, is just gonna pass. And the continuation, 133 years now of this illegality.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Rojas. Anyone else wishing to provide testimony, present or online? No, Chair. No, just for the benefit of members of the board and members of the public, I just want to make a few comments on the affordability of housing. As board members may be aware, I've founded a nonprofit, Housing Hawaii's Future, which worked extensively to promote both affordable and workforce housing across the state. And I just want to state a few things. The first is, in general, there is not for sale housing available for people earning 60 to 80% area median income. Because most often these people, by virtue of the fact that they don't make a lot of money, struggle to afford fixed payments over a long period of time, and lenders are most often unwilling to lend to them. On the continental United States, there are typically slightly more affordable housing options in the form of mobile homes or manufactured homes that these people can afford. But even then, they don't usually outright own it because they're renting a lot from a from a property owner, and then they place the manufactured home. And even then, the loans that they're typically able to qualify for are at a higher interest rate than a usual 30-year mortgage that a first-time home buyer would be taking out. Because people who are in that 60 to 80% AMI typically don't qualify for financing, there is not a lot of new construction housing built for them. Typically, new construction housing, like the product being made by Gentry, is aimed at people in the 100 to 140% area median income band or higher. And just to give perspective, in the 100 to 140% area median income, this would include some professions like firefighters or police officers or engineers or nurses or married teachers would typically end up in this 100 to 140% area median income band. So these are our civil servants, these are our small business owners, these are people working hard in the community who I believe deserve to have home ownership opportunities. We oftentimes will divide our advocacy between two types of housing: affordable housing, which is the 80% and below. These are people on low incomes or very low incomes. And then your sort of 80 to 140% area median income, which is your workforce housing. Those are those people in the professions that I just named. I'm fully supportive of this project and all of the development that Gentry has been doing in this area, because Gentry is one of the few home building companies that targets all of its development in this band of workforce housing. Typically, the people who are buying Gentry homes are first-time home buyers, and this is their entry into home ownership. And I think it's an awesome thing that they're doing, and I want to commend them for it. The last thing I want to note is oftentimes when we look at these numbers, we'll say, wow, the number is so high. How come it's 600,000? How come it's 700,000? And the answer is that new construction is always more expensive than existing homes. Most of Hawaii's home stock is between like 50 to 60 years old, if not older than that. And so when you build something new, not only do you have to buy the materials, not only are labor costs higher, not only are the safety standards and the building codes much more stringent than they used to be, but you also have to deal with the fact of constant regulation and dealing with a thicket of approvals and court challenges that delay things for years and years, which has actually limited the supply of home builders in Hawaii. There used to be more home builders in West Oahu and across the state of Hawaii, but many of them have pulled out of our state and left because of how onerous it is to build here. I personally have believed in my whole term on HCDA that we should be doing all that we can to enable home builders like Gentry to build housing in this state. And so not only do I support this agenda item, but I support everything that this board has done in the last 4 years to make it easier for home builders to build for our workforce. I understand that many people are frustrated and struggling with the cost of living. People who are earning 60% look at a $600,000 home or a $180,000 salary, and they think there's no way someone can deserve that. But if we collectively say that no one deserves a $180,000 salary or no one deserves a $600,000 home, then we'll stop building those homes and we'll stop having those salaries and we'll stop having engineers, we'll stop having doctors, and we'll stop having a lot of other people who keep the bridges that we drive on up and the hospitals that we depend on for life-saving services open. And that is not a state that I personally want to live in. I think the job of this agency and all government agencies is to provide, according to statute, what the public needs and to do so in a way that is responsible and accountable to the public. That is why we have these meetings. And so I will be voting in support of this measure. Any other people wishing to provide testimony before we look for a motion? Sure. Okay, members, any other comments or questions? Member Gordner.
Thank you, Chair. Wonderful speech, and you're reminding me that I need to ask you to return to my housing policy class in the fall to speak to my students again. I do want to note one more thing about the price points of these units, which is I co-authored an op-ed in Civil Beat a couple of weeks ago with a researcher from the Pew Research Center to highlight the mechanism of filtering. So all that I want to add to this is, even though the price is quite high here, because of that 2-year regulated period, we know that these are people who live here and are trying to stay here. And the people who can afford these homes, when they buy these homes, they are vacating the units where they live right now already in Hawaii. And the research that we talk about in that article, which is called Building Homes, Even Expensive Ones Helps Everyone, is that those homes down the chain tend to be much more affordable. So all I want to add to the chair's words is that these homes, as we are building them, not only directly help the families who are moving into them and can thereby stay in Hawaii, they are also helping to reduce pressure down the AMI to the 80% and the 60% by making some of the older housing stock available to them. Thank you.
You're here, and I commend the article to all the board members and members of the public for reading. Any other comments or questions from board members? Thank you. Is there a motion for the board to approve pursuant to the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision in order dated January 7th, 2026 for application number KAL 25-10, the reserved housing unit pricing and supporting analyses for increment 4 of Ka'ulu by Gentry located on parcel TMKs 1-9-1-193 various and 1-9-1-198 in the Kalaeloa Community Development District, 91-1101 Franklin D. Roosevelt Avenue, and take all actions necessary to effectuate this for action. Do I hear such a motion?
Chair, so moved.
Moved by Member Gordner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Ishii. Members, any further discussion on the motion? Moved by Member Gordner, seconded by Member Ishii. Seeing none, I'll ask Mr. Ryan Tam to take the roll call vote.
Chair Higa,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ishii,
Yes.
Secretary Lidstone,
Aye.
Member Miranda Johnson,
Yes.
Member Anderson,
Yes.
Member Wicker is excused.
Member Evans.
Member Evans,
Yes.
Member Streitz,
Yes.
Member Duvachel,
Yes.
Member Gordner.
Yes.
Motion passes with 9 yes votes, 0 no votes, 0 excused, and 0 abstentions. Thank you, Mr. Ryan Tam. We'll move now to agenda item number 4, report of the executive director. This is the monthly report and other status reports, including approved permit applications that did not require HRS 206E-5.6 public hearings. Executive Director Nakamoto will now provide his monthly report.
Thank you, Chair. It's included in tab 3. The only one I wanted to report on was about capital improvements, and that was for Saratoga and Lachua, and I believe that was already addressed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Board members, any comments or questions on this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to public testimony. Do we have any persons pre-signed up for testimony? Any persons present wishing to provide testimony? Any persons online wishing to provide testimony? Seeing no public testimony, maybe just I'll make a brief comment before we adjourn. I want to thank Member Gordner for his service on this Kalaeloa board. This is his last meeting as a board member. It's been a pleasure serving with you, Member Gordner. I appreciate all that you've brought in terms of your trenchant questions, your deep policy knowledge of housing and development. And I know that the board and the agency will miss your presence here. So thank you, Member Gordner.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, if I can make.
Oh, please, Director Nakamoto.
So I'd like to thank Member Gordner for your service. I know when we first talked about your service on the board, I was so excited to have you on the board with your experience, and you've provided such great feedback. Also want to thank Chair for his service. Chair, your leadership on this board, your steadfast commitment to it, kind of, even the approach to things has been so helpful. And I know on behalf of the staff, other board members, I want to just say thank you for your service and best wishes on your future.
Thank you. It's graduation season here too. Thank you, members of the board, members of the public, staff of the agency. This concludes our business for today. And the meeting is adjourned. The time is now 11:46 a.m.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Mahalo.
Thank you, board members.
Well, thank you.